This is an AI avatar of Lesix founder Rob Lee. Script produced using a custom-trained AI employee in Claude. Video produced using HeyGen. Now let's begin. How should agents establish lasting quality standards? That's the question we're tackling today. And it's a critical one. Because here's the reality. In a market where every agent has access to the same MLS data, the same technology, the same marketing platforms, quality of service becomes your differentiator. Not sometimes, always. But here's where most agents get it wrong. They think quality is about working harder, longer hours, more hustle. That's not quality. That's burnout disguised as productivity. Real quality standards? They're about building systems that preserve excellence even when you're busy, even when the market shifts, even when you're scaling. Today we're going to walk through 5 specific strategies for establishing quality standards that last. Standards that become part of your DNA as an agent. Standards that your clients experience consistently, transaction after transaction. Let's start with the foundation. Every successful agent I know has a line, a standard below which they will not go. The question is, do you know yours? Most agents operate reactively. A client calls at 9 p.m., they answer. A buyer wants to see a property at the last minute, they scramble. A seller wants to overprice by 50 grand, they go along with it to get the listing. That's not service, that's compliance. Here's what I want you to do. Define your non-negotiables now, before the pressure hits. What are the communication standards you'll maintain with every client? Will you respond within 2 hours during business hours? Will you provide weekly updates regardless of market activity? What's your standard for property presentation? Will every listing get professional photography? Will you require a pre-listing inspection? Will you insist on staging consultations? What about transaction management? Will you use checklists for every phase? Will you have systems for tracking contingency deadlines? These aren't suggestions. These are your baseline standards. The floor, not the ceiling. And here's the key. These standards need to be specific, measurable. Not, I'll communicate well, but I will respond to client calls and texts within 2 business hours and provide written weekly updates every Friday by 5 p.m. Why does this matter? Because vague standards become negotiable standards, and negotiable standards aren't standards at all. I've seen agents who say they provide excellent service, but they define excellent differently depending on how tired they are that day. That's not a standard. That's a mood. Your non-negotiables protect you. They protect your clients. And honestly, they protect your reputation. When you define these early, you make decisions from a place of clarity instead of desperation. You don't compromise your standards to close one more deal because you've already decided that compromising isn't an option. Now, let me be clear. Non-negotiables aren't about being rigid or inflexible with clients. They're about ensuring that your level of service never drops below a certain threshold. You can exceed your standards. You should exceed them, but you never go below them. That's the foundation. Here's the trap. You start your career. You're hungry. You give incredible personalized service to your first 5 clients. Then you get 10 clients. 20, 30, and suddenly cracks appear. You forget to follow up with a lead. You miss a contingency deadline. You show up to a listing appointment unprepared because you didn't have time to review the CMA. This is where most agents plateau, not because they lack ambition, because they lack systems. Quality doesn't scale through memory, it scales through systems. Let me give you a real example. A leading property development firm was struggling with consistency across projects. They implemented a comprehensive documentation system where every stage of every project was meticulously recorded. The result? A 20% increase in investor confidence. Not because they changed what they did, because they systematized how they did it. That same principle applies to your real estate practice. You need documented processes for every major client touchpoint. Not in your head. Documented. What does your listing presentation process look like? Is there a checklist, a preparation routine, specific materials you review the night before? What about your buyer consultation? Do you have a structured conversation guide, documents you send before the meeting, follow-up items that happen automatically? How about transaction management? Is there a checklist that covers every phase from contract to close? Who's responsible for tracking what? Here's what I recommend. Start with your most frequent activities. Map out every step. Then create checklists. Not because you're incompetent, because you're human. And humans forget things when they're juggling 15 transactions and 20 prospects. Checklists ensure that your quality remains consistent whether you're handling your first transaction of the year or your 50th, whether you're fully rested or running on 4 hours of sleep. The system carries the quality, not your memory, not your willpower. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but Rob, I don't want to be robotic. I want to be authentic. Systems don't eliminate authenticity. They create space for it. When you're not worried about forgetting something, when you're not scrambling to remember what comes next, you can actually be present with your clients. You can listen. You can connect. That's the paradox. Structure creates freedom. So here's your action step. Pick one area of your business, just one. Document the process. Create a checklist. Use it for 30 days. You'll be amazed at the consistency that emerges. Let me ask you something. When's the last time you honestly evaluated your own performance? Not your sales numbers, your actual service quality. Most agents only get feedback when something goes wrong. A complaint, a bad review, a deal that falls apart. That's reactive quality control, and it's too late. Proactive agents build feedback loops into their practice. They don't wait for problems. They actively hunt for improvement opportunities. Here's how this works practically. Quarterly, sit down and review your last 10 to 15 transactions. Ask yourself tough questions. Did I respond to clients within my stated time frame? If not, why not? Was it a capacity issue? A system failure? A prioritization problem? Did I provide the level of service I promised in my initial consultation? Where did I exceed expectations? Where did I fall short? Were there any surprises or crises that could have been prevented with better systems? This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about identifying patterns. Maybe you consistently struggle with communication during the inspection period. That's actionable. You can build a system specifically for that phase. Maybe you notice that your marketing materials for listings aren't as polished as they could be. That's fixable. You can allocate budget or time to improve that. But here's the critical piece. Don't just audit yourself. Get external feedback. Send post-transaction surveys to every client. Keep them short. 5 to 7 questions maximum. How would you rate our communication throughout the process? What could we have done better? Would you refer us to friends and family? And here's the uncomfortable part. When you get critical feedback, thank them. Don't defend. Don't explain. Just listen and implement. I've seen agents get defensive about negative feedback. Well, they don't understand that, or if they had just... That's ego protecting itself, not quality improving itself. Every piece of critical feedback is a gift. It's showing you exactly where your blind spots are. Take the example of first-class real estate. They built their entire culture around feedback and development, weekly training, dedicated support, monthly recognition. personal development recommendations. New agents who were about to quit the industry were securing listings within 3 weeks. Why? Because the feedback loops were built into the structure. You don't need a whole brokerage to do this. You just need to commit to honest evaluation. Peer review is another powerful tool. Find another agent you respect. Review each other's transactions quarterly. What would you have done differently? What did you learn from their approach? This kind of collaborative feedback accelerates growth dramatically. Bottom line, you can't improve what you don't measure, and you can't measure what you don't audit. Build feedback loops, make them routine, and act on what you discover. Here's a hard truth. Your license qualifies you to practice real estate. It doesn't make you excellent at it. Excellence requires continuous learning. And I'm not just talking about continuing education credits. I'm talking about genuine skill development. The market changes, technology evolves, client expectations shift, negotiation tactics that worked 5 years ago might be ineffective today. If you're delivering the same service in the same way you did 3 years ago, you're not maintaining quality. You're falling behind. Professional development needs to be intentional, not just attending whatever CE class is convenient. Ask yourself, what skill would most impact my business if I mastered it? Is it negotiation? Are you leaving money on the table for your clients because you're uncomfortable with tough conversations? Is it market analysis? Could you provide more valuable insights if you understood comparative analysis at a deeper level? Is it technology? Are you missing opportunities because you haven't learned how to leverage CRM systems or digital marketing effectively? Is it communication? Could you build stronger relationships if you improved your emotional intelligence? Pick one. Commit to 6 months of focused development in that area. Read books, take courses, find mentors who excel in that specific skill. Practice deliberately. Here's what I've noticed. Agents who commit to continuous development don't just improve their skills. They improve their confidence. And confident agents provide better service. They're not faking expertise. They're demonstrating it. Consider the story of Nathan Clark. He and his wife were burning out, working constantly but not effectively. They invested in learning new systems through the Quantum Leap program, not just surface-level tactics, deep systems. Now they're on track for 750 transactions annually, and Nathan works 4 days a week. That's not about working harder. That's about learning better approaches. But here's the thing about professional development. It's not just about technical skills. Invest in understanding human psychology. Learn about behavioral economics. Study how people make decisions under stress. Why? Because real estate isn't just about properties. It's about people navigating one of the most significant financial and emotional decisions of their lives. The better you understand human behavior, the better you can serve your clients through their anxieties, their fears, their excitement. That's quality service at the deepest level. Make this commitment. Invest at least 5% of your gross commission income back into your professional development every year. If you earned $100,000 last year, that's $5,000 for education, coaching, and skill development. That's not an expense. That's an investment in your ability to deliver excellence. Here's something most agents don't think about. Your quality standards aren't just about what you do. They're about who you partner with. Every vendor you recommend, every lender you refer, every inspector, appraiser, title company, contractor you connect your clients with. They represent you. If they provide subpar service, your client doesn't just blame them. They associate that experience with you. Your reputation is shaped by everyone involved in your transactions. So here's the standard. Only partner with vendors who share your quality commitment. That mortgage lender who's always late with pre-approval letters, they're hurting your clients and your reputation. Find someone better. The inspector who rushes through properties and misses major issues, that's a liability. Replace them. The title company with inconsistent communication, they're creating stress for your clients. Move on. I know this sounds harsh, but excellence is selective. You're not doing anyone a favor by referring mediocre service providers. You're doing everyone a disservice. Build a network of professionals who take quality as seriously as you do. People who respond promptly, who do thorough work, who communicate proactively. And here's the key: maintain those relationships. Check in with your vendors regularly. How are transactions going? Are they experiencing any challenges? What feedback are they hearing from clients? This isn't just courtesy, it's quality control. If you notice patterns, if multiple clients mention communication issues with a particular vendor, address it directly. Have a conversation. Set clear expectations. And if they can't meet those expectations, find alternatives. Your vendor network should be a competitive advantage, not a liability. Think about that first-class real estate example again. Part of what made their new agent successful wasn't just internal training, it was the entire support ecosystem. The right partnerships amplify quality, the wrong ones undermine it. So be ruthless about this. Protect your standards by choosing partners who uphold them. And when you find great partners, nurture those relationships. Refer business to them, advocate for them, collaborate on improving client experiences. Quality attracts quality. So let's recap what we've covered. First, define your non-negotiables early. Create specific, measurable standards that become your baseline, not your ceiling, your floor. Second, build systems that scale with quality intact. Document your processes, create checklists, let structure carry your consistency so you can focus on connection. Third, implement regular self-audits and feedback loops. Review your performance quarterly, survey every client, seek peer feedback, and most importantly, act on what you learn. Fourth, invest in continuous professional development. Commit 5% of your income to genuine skill development, not just CE credits, real learning that makes you better. Fifth, maintain accountability through selective partnerships. Only work with vendors who share your quality commitment. Your reputation depends on it. These 5 strategies aren't complicated, but they're not common either. Most agents never define clear standards. They operate reactively instead of systematically. They avoid honest feedback. They stop learning after they get their license. And they partner with whoever is convenient instead of who is excellent. That's why quality becomes your differentiator. Because most agents won't do this work. But you will. Here's what I want you to do this week. Not next month. This week. Sit down for 30 minutes. Write down your non-negotiables. 3 to 5 specific standards you'll maintain regardless of circumstances. Then pick one system to document. Just one. Your listing process, your buyer consultation, your transaction checklist. Document it. Create a tool you can use repeatedly. That's it. Just those 2 actions. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. That's overwhelming and it leads to nothing changing. Small, consistent improvements. That's how lasting quality standards are built. Remember the development firm. 20% increase in investor confidence. Not from working harder, from systematizing their quality. Remember Nathan Clark. 750 transactions while working 4 days a week. Not from hustling more, from learning better systems. Remember the struggling agent at first class. 2 listings in 3 weeks after almost quitting. Not from talent, from being part of a quality-focused system. These aren't exceptional people. They're people who implemented exceptional systems. you can do the same. Quality standards aren't about perfection. They're about consistency, about creating experiences your clients can count on, about building a reputation not just for closing deals, but for how you close them. That's enduring excellence. That's what separates top producers from everyone else. Not their hustle, their standards. So define yours. Build systems around them. Get feedback on them. Keep learning to improve them. And partner with people who share them. Do that, and quality becomes your identity. Not your aspiration, your identity. That's how you establish lasting quality standards. Thanks for watching.